Welcome to RHI's Sociable City Interviews, where we meet with global thought leaders on nightlife and the social economy. Today, we are with Allision Harnden, Nighttime Economy Manager, Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Well, hello, Allison. It's great to see you again. I'm glad we have this opportunity to talk. What I wanted to cover today is just a few basic questions, beginning first of all with a brief history. Now, you and I go back to, I believe it was 1995, and that over the years we worked together on many cities, and you have a really unique background even for this position before you started. But what are some of the foundational principles that you bring to your role, not only back then, but today after all of the many years of experiences you've had?
Coming from a hospitality background, and I have that service mentality. My dad had service stations. I learned from him how to interact with people and to be of service. And so I think one of the foundational principles I bring to it is to be to be an asset and to be in the background. And that my role is really about helping a city to adapt to a more maybe 24-hour city, but to adapt to the changes that are happening to it. So I think also the foundational principles I bring would be recognizing the value of social connection and trying to communicate that to people, that it's valuable not just to our economy, but to our cities and to our personal lives.
So I know that you on a regular basis have meetings with people who are part of this new night mayor, night manager movement. They're people from, well, mostly you focus in on the North American or the US cities. But as you know, Mayor Milan from Amsterdam really generated a lot of interest around the world. But your regular calls, obviously, before this pandemic, everybody had a different perspective of what they were doing, what their jobs were. But what is it that you see this night manager being, and how in the people that you talked with has their role changed since the pandemic took over?
A lot of people think a night manager is somebody who just is out in nightlife all the time and is operates at night. And what our role is pretty vast, and so having and each of our roles are kind of different and in our placement. And say you're a city that's more than nighttime economy, or the social economy is more oriented to your downtown, that would bring out a different role in the night manager too. Pittsburgh is a city that has many neighborhoods, and so our role of the Office of Nighttime Economy is not just in downtown, but in cities all over. So I see the role of the night manager to have a balance of help support a balance of safety and economic development in the socializing and nighttime economy. And again, helping a city adapt to those changes. When before the pandemic, we would organize a call of night managers in the United States. There are about 10 of us, and we would talk quarterly and kind of see what things were coming up. And but we were in Seattle when at the RHI conference when the pandemic hit, and it 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 solidified our connection at that point. And then as soon as we went back to our cities, our respective cities, we decided we really needed to reach out more frequently and help each other. And so just hearing, then we also got on a WhatsApp with the global night managers. And I mean, like not just Europe, this is Asia and South America, all over the world. And hearing what was coming towards us and what to expect really helped us understand how to work with our own cities. So we still meet almost every week on Zoom, and it's incredibly valuable because the landscape is shifting constantly under COVID. The rules are changing. We're trying to help businesses adapt to those changes and understand them and be in compliance with them. We learn from each other. It's, you know, it's not something that you can wait till a conference and hear a presentation on. You know, we need to do this deep dive and share that information. It's really helped. One of the things that I borrowed from Ariel in the Office of Nighttime Economy in New York City was she pretty early on implemented a survey, and it was important for us to do that too. And so really just even days after I think it was 2 days after the shutdown here in Pittsburgh, we were able to connect. And I guess this might go into some of the engagement part that you wanted to talk about, but we were able to engage those businesses in that way. But I see the role, I think I think more people, now that the pandemic has made people realize the importance of social connection and the places where they can do that. The third places in our cities. I think more cities may come online with the night manager, and it's important because we touch on so many different aspects of either city government, county, state, and now federal with a lot of stuff.
So in moving forward, you know, each of the different cities that has a night manager, like you said before, they're placed in different locations, you know, so some are legislative, like in New York or DC. Some are within a downtown business improvement district, like in Orlando. Some are within an economic department, like in Austin, Texas, or manager's office, like in Fort Lauderdale. And a lot of the work, like you said before, is engaging different stakeholders, almost to build an alliance. So how would you identify or develop a model for a city if they were just starting out? What would you see, based upon your experience with all of these other configurations and your own? What would you see as the best way to engage stakeholders and put them focused on the social economy?
Well, you know, it's really abiding by, you know, RHI's principles. You know, you need to have a focus on bring together very diverse people, different positions within city government, within the private sector and public sector, in businesses, colleges, residents, and really have a holistic group look at the health of your socializing economy. And that from there have some marching orders, if you will, and each person kind of take a piece of that. And but I think the best way for a night manager to help, you know, move that forward is to be that sort of spoke in the wheel, that hub in the wheel. Not that we are running the machine, but we're at least somewhere where everybody can kind of connect and share information. I think the best thing that anyone can do is try to walk in that other person's shoes. That's what I have to do as a night manager. I have to do that with, you know, our politicians. I have to do that with our planning department, with police, with businesses, with residents, and try and find some common ground. But I think the best way to engage people too is to, you know, build trust. And you can do that by really, you know, listening to them, helping them solve their problems. And that creates a connection.
Okay, almost like a counselor of the city, so to speak.
It really is. I mean, sometimes it's just people want to, I mean, especially during COVID, I mean, a lot of times there is no real help. I mean, we've been at points where there is no real help available except to really listen to somebody vent, you know, and connect them to the resources. And that's another thing that is a role in how you can engage, is be that holder of the resources and the knowledge that connects all the people, so that when somebody says, oh, I'm having a challenge with this, you can say, you need to talk to this spoke in the wheel, and connect them.
So we've seen obviously the social isolation, the loneliness, the frustrations that people have, almost the anger among the venues that are being closed and then they're allowed to be open in a minimal way, and then even more restrictions and then less restrictions. But this will all evolve. Obviously, we're hopeful the vaccine will take hold, that we'll begin to see some changes. And there's been a lot of different ways in which people have reacted, with home delivery, takeout, home cooking, home entertainment, home mixology, all kinds of things that are substituting what was lost in the commercial sector. But how, say, 18 months from now, when all of this settles, do you believe people will be socializing?
Well, I think it's going to be a path to get there. And just as we kind of eased into, no, we didn't ease it. I think we'll have stages that we back out of mitigation. So here in Pittsburgh, we can't have bar seating open, and we have to have you have to buy a meal with if you want an alcohol beverage. I think some of those will back out, and so we'll kind of get back a little bit to normal, if whatever that is. And I think there's been some studies that have been done about how consumer behavior has changed. And of course, it kind of makes sense that people are sticking a little bit closer to home. And I think that being, if you are going to anywhere in your neighborhood right now, it creates this emotional bond going through this, crisis together. And I think that we'll see a lot more of a spreading out of nighttime economy and socializing options, like into more of a neighborhood focus. And I think those neighborhoods will become more refined in their personalities, like a more refined focus. And also in some cities, the transportation is an issue. And so I think that's, until that comes fully back online, that's going to drive some of that kind of socializing closer to home. I think, I don't think I believe that people are just going to get used to socializing at home and with their friends and in their backyards. There's clearly an urge to get back to having those elements of surprise and, just people watching. And I think we will come back to that. But I think it will highlight what's kind of always been in socializing and nighttime economy, is that people that we've evolved to anyway, and that people want options. At least in America, we like having lots of choices, and to have that choice of taking home a meal kit and making it with your family, or getting a bunch of takeout from a bunch of different people and sitting around a fire in your backyard, or really wanting to get back and have that experience in public space with other people. I think that people will go back to a lot of that too.
Well, thank you, Allison. It seems like you have quite a challenging position there, and it seems like you're making great strides. And obviously, with your history in hospitality and service, you're certainly perfect for this role. So I want
Well,
to
certainly evolving.
It's evolving, right? Well, we'll see what happens 18 months from now. We'll revisit
Yeah.
that, or not back then, but in the future.
Right.
All right. Well, thank you for your time and have a wonderful day.
You too. Take care, Jim.